more on this, we're joined by Professor Anthony Beresford from Cardiff University here in the UK. He's a leading expert on logistics. Thank you very much indeed, Professor, for joining us. So this aid ship called the Open Arms is reportedly due to set sail from the port of Larnaca in Cyprus this weekend, perhaps tomorrow. How challenging is this going to be? How hard is it to organise something like this, and how will it actually deliver its cargo once it's able to get to Gaza?
Well, it's very challenging because it's first time up. It's never been done before in quite this form. The view I have actually is it's probably something of a test case to see if bigger ships and more voluminous cargo can be taken in the coming days and weeks. But there are challenges of international protocols, of coordination, physical access, of course, and ultimately, who is in charge if something goes wrong?
So a really complex pattern there on the ground. Can we talk a little bit more about those challenges in detail? The founder of the charity behind this ship says that he's not that concerned about security, but that the final mile of the journey will be the most complex. Why is it so hard to get this ship to Gaza's coast?
Well, in international waters, routes are tried and tested, and they're being used all day, every day, all over the world. But as soon as you get close to a coast, which is sometimes deemed the last mile, you've got the issue of where the ship can dock. Now, it's well known that this part of the Middle East essentially has, that's the Gaza Strip, has no port. So a port to be created, or at least an extremely simple version of a port, and from that point on, you're really talking of the last mile concept.
And this new maritime aid corridor that the EU has organised, how is it going to work, and will it fit in, do you think, with what the United States has announced, this huge floating port of the type perhaps that you're talking about that can be set up temporarily, that could perhaps receive big aid shipments? How's that going to work, do you think?
Well, the mantra with these situations is that the more corridors you have operating, the better. It is literally a matter of life and death. It's well broadcast, widely broadcast, that people are dying or potentially dying in a matter of hours and days. So the thrust is to have as many corridors of as many types as possible up and running in tandem. And hence the airdrops, which became the first sort of headline-grabbing solution, and now is the maritime corridor, both of which, frankly, are secondary to a land corridor, which is the preferred option, but it simply tends to grind to a halt every now and again, and it's limited in capacity.
Well, exactly. The World Food Programme paused its deliveries into northern Gaza last month, saying that its convoys were being attacked. There was total chaos and violence, and these airdrops that have been happening have been criticised as being haphazard and dangerous. They've been hitting people. Is the bottom line really that it's just very difficult to get any aid into active war zones?
That's absolutely true. And the other point actually here is that, thankfully, in a sense, wars do not happen too often, so the practice is not there. The new supply routes are therefore essentially untried and untested. So I suspect this maritime route, if it's successful with a few hundred tons of aid, which is vital, but is quite low volume, then it could be ramped up to bigger volumes using bigger ships. And once the supply route is solid and reliable and robust, policed appropriately in the last mile area and local distribution, then very large volumes potentially could be brought in.
Well, it's been great to get your thoughts on this. Thank you very much indeed, Professor Anthony Beresford from Cardiff University.